So the first 2 weeks of the intervention, we did individualized incentives. So that kid was on task, he got an error ticket in the class. I kept that data as a collaborator. So every time some kid was off task, he'd get a check mark. Every time somebody was being disruptive, check mark. If they didn't have a check mark at the end of class, they'd get a ticket as they walked out the door. Boom. They got it in their hand, physically in their hand. After the first 2 weeks, we switched to the whole group. So the whole class had to complete a certain number. And I'll explain why we chose to do that in the analysis of our data. So the sampling participants of this era program that I chose was a 9th grade classroom at Simon Kenton High School with freshmen. It was all freshman English class, collaborative class. There were 27 students in the class. We had 11 female students, 16 male students, and 12 students had IEPs, 6 of those being EBD. So that could be why we had some behavior issues in that class. So the next slide is the baseline data that I took. So if you can look, this was in one class period for a week. I took baseline data. There was an average of 10 call-outs and 7 off-task behaviors per class period for those 5 days. So that is 17 total disruptions out of our instruction. The next slide for the visual learners is the graph that I created. So the light gray is going to be the baseline data. The dark gray is going to be the individual data. And the lighter gray will be the whole class data. So I didn't have any color in my printer. So the baseline data is at 17. It stays at 17. The first week of this program, it jumped down to 13 disruptive behaviors in the classroom. An average of 13 disruptive behaviors in the classroom. The second week was at 14 disruptive behaviors in the classroom. Then when we switched to the whole class intervention, it actually jumped down to 10 in week 3 and 8 in week 4. So the next page I do some data analysis of what that meant. So both interventions worked. Both interventions showed progress and improvement from the baseline data. The individual analysis, the only thing I realized with that was we had a lot of what we call frequent flyers. So once they were disruptive once, they had no reason to not be disruptive again because they weren't getting their ticket for that day. So a lot of the times, some of those, when we got up to 17, there may have been 7 or 8 from one student, or 7 or 8 from 2 students, because once they get one, they're like, oh, well, why us? Why do we have to stop now? So that was a big thing that we noticed. And during the whole group analysis, so that's when I talked to the teacher, Ms. Dunhoff, and we were like, hey, let's try this whole group and see if we can go below 12. We haven't been there yet. We went up the second week, so I was like, let's try to get below 12. And actually, in that aspect, we discussed it with the class, and you saw a change in the classroom environment. It was not as many...
Pardon me, at this time, all seniors who did not pick up their cap and gown, please report to room 214E, next to Ms. Maston's classroom. Thank you.
So we didn't have as many frequent flyers. You started seeing people hold each other accountable in the classroom. You started to see if one kid's being off task and they get a little tap on their desk and a check mark, the next time he's off task, you're seeing the kid kick his desk a little bit. Hey, stop. Chill out. We don't need another one. I'm trying to get my ticket so I can win this B-dub sauce. And like I said, we were below 10 disruptions each of those 2 weeks. So it's definitely been a big help to the instruction that is being able to be taught inside those classrooms. The last slide that I have is for the next steps that we have. We actually still need to create the spreadsheet with the tickets of each student so we can have a visual. We're going to put it on the board so they can say, oh, look, I have, and then we're going to do it by their student IDs. We're not going to do it by their names. We're going to do student IDs. So they'll know their student ID. Look, I have 17 tickets, but this kid below me has 24. I need to be, better than him. So hopefully it gets a little competitive. We're going to create, we're going to create a board of pictures of what we have received so far, so the kids can always have something to look at. If they go back to the board during our free time or during score, and they can just sit and say, hey, oh, look, I have the Luke Bryan ticket. I have all this stuff. The only questions that I have for the program is, will data remain consistent? throughout the year, throughout the end of the year, because we started this in the middle of March, so it's kind of a small area. Will this program show more results when getting closer to the auction? So if they're looking at their prizes, or they're looking at what the amount of tickets that they have, will they start to not be as disruptive, so they want more tickets? And lastly, will this work as a whole year intervention, like I said earlier? Like we started in March, if we started this at the beginning of the year, could we have eliminated those disruptions throughout the year and had more instructional time for the class? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any questions?
So what could you do or is the program itself, does it have like a preventative measure for those kids that are like already EBD, so we already know they're going to struggle? Is there something that you could put in place to like, so they know the expectations, or they know it's like a ticket day or something like that?
Right, so we actually talked about that. We've had one student that has been a frequent flyer every day. I think he has like 4 tickets. And we're going to pull him aside. He's actually in a program here called the PASS program as well. So we're going to pull him aside and we're going to discuss, hey, if you limit yours to 2 call-outs, you're still going to be able to get a ticket.
So that doesn't take away those kids, like those kids that do struggle with call-outs based upon their IEP and stuff like that, that doesn't eliminate them. I would think that would like help them more,
right,
to be able to see like, well, I had a call-out and this is part of my disability, but
right,
I'm not done for the day, so I'm not just going to trash the whole class.
What we've done recently, very recently, we've started putting sticky notes on everybody's desk on the side.
That's a good idea.
And if they're disruptive, we don't say a word. I stop check marking things. I just walk by and pick up their sticky note. So now they know that they've been disruptive. I've got 1 sticky note in my hand. I've got 11 more to collect before the end of the day. And for that particular student, maybe we put 3 on his desk, and I just come by and take the top one off.
That's a good idea.
So
It's a really good idea.
that is it. Any
Okay.
other questions?
Nope.
All righty, have a good one.